Okay, so here it is. Finished. Didn't do any work in progresses, and frankly, it just started out life as a normal Zaku 2 Thunderbolt high grade. Nothing really all that special. Didn't even bother applying the decals. Sat on my shelf pretty much since it was originally launched. Now here it is. If you don't know this color scheme, it is the Zaku 2 first production color scheme. Only theoretically, if it was real, one of these would have been made. It would have been fielded once for combat and then put in a museum. So, here it is, my interpretation of it in the Thunderbolt universe as it would have sat in the museum with minor battle damage. On this kit, I did some fairly obvious modifications. Split the front skirt because that's almost trivial. Full paint job. Left, right, top, bottom. Custom cast some shoulder pieces using resin casting and making my own molds. But if you look extremely closely here at the eye, you'll notice that isn't painted on. That's not a sticker. That's an LED. And this right here is the fuel tank. You might notice that the ball joint that is normally goes into the back of him and penetrates into the backpack to give him more fuel has been cut off and replaced with a ball of, well, metallic white paste. That's a magnet. So I'm just going to quickly try and turn this on. It's a bit fiddly. And there you see the LED turning on. Using a magnet, not some fancy switch. All the electricals are internal. No wires, no nothing. No hidden wires, nothing special. Everything's inside of him. Battery. All custom done. And also, coming out of the neck, there's no wires going up into the head. How did I achieve this? Well, if you look at this panel gap here, because this is really floppy, that's where I'm hiding the battery. That's a battery clip, came from DigiKey. Looks kind of like this, but had to chop it down quite a bit to have it fit in there. And that's a CR1620, I do believe, powering it. It's a very small battery, but it's able to directly power the LED, so I don't care. Now, to use a magnet to turn it on, that was a little bit more tricky. I needed to use a piece called a magnetic reed switch, which I've got a baggie with 3 more of them here. The very small glass 2 wires. Let me just take one out. Looks like this. And that is inside of the backpack where the polycap that the fuel tank normally connects into. Put that back on. It does close up. It's just loose because I needed to cut all the connecting supports away, except for 2 on the very end that are very small. Now the head. The wires leading into the head are what's known as wire wrap. Wire wrap is this extremely thin wire. Don't even know if you can see that, but it's pretty much 30 gauge to 40 gauge wire with a very hard, thick, tough sheathing around it that, if you don't have the correct tool, is impossible to remove. I have the correct tool. I'm able to apply it. It's kind of expensive now, but mine was laying in the basement, so I just used it along with the wire. Now it's stupidly expensive, but for me it was free, so I just did it. And the LED just was the right diameter, so I drilled out where the mono eye was, placed it in there. Applied the decals on back skirt Big Neo Zeong instead of the arm shield. Didn't even bother painting it. Didn't do much with the thrusters, since I looked at some modern thrusters, and frankly, they kind of look like gray plastic. Sadly, they're not shiny. It's weird. Painted all of the little gold ones, some copper there. Made it look like they'd done some repair work here with a different color of black and damaging the decal. And other than little accent work and some roughing up, that about covers it. For scale, here's my 1/144th scale Shara Aznable that's hand painted by me with a bloody small paintbrush. Let me just put that there, and he falls off immediately. But let me just turn back on the LED gimmick. Really nice LED, good color, not very bright, it's very subtle, but it's definitely visible, which I like. Also, painted that, just masked off the areas I didn't want paint on. And the fuel tank does fall out at the drop of a feather on the other side of the world. But he's able to kind of use it as a third leg and look like he's floating, kind of. So that about covers it. Articulation is nearly identical, except for the head, which now has more chicken necking action and more rotation. And the LED still works, so I'm not going to question it. Split side front skirts, back skirts still can't do anything. Shoulders, since they're custom resin casts, one of them does move. The other one is locked. Just the way that it got glued. Very small fiddly bits. Here's one that I cast out of wax just to test my mold, since wax is reusable. Got some bubbles in it, but yeah, the polycap's small. Molds weren't all that great, as you can see, but hey, what you gonna do? Thanks for watching. Take it easy.